Welcome, guys and guyettes. This is the Z Files behind the screens, or for those of you that prefer to speak English, it is the Nazi zombie storyline debunking. We have Jay here.
What's up, man?
Not much. How are you going?
I'm alright.
Doing
Been
rather.
researching.
Yep. Right. We're hoping to give you some of the most accurate information about the real events that are referenced and based in the game Nazi Zombies itself, and also an in-depth description to what is actually occurring throughout the game. So, is there anything you want to say about Nazi Zombies at the minute, Jay?
Yeah, it's actually highly for fact. You can look it up by Glock or the real, which we'll be talking about today, and the other wonder weapons.
Indeed we are. And first of all, we're going to talk about what the Nazis were experimenting with in real life. For the first topic, we shall talk about Vril and Hanubi 3. Okay, this is from a source I found on internet. It is called The Nazi UFO Secret. Okay, quotation marks. The Nazi party had a secret flying disc already off the drawing board and and it was capable of 1,200 miles an hour. Vertical takeoff 90 changes, much like a helicopter, and of course was far superior to anything that the Allies' power had at the time. Secondly, they also had another craft about to be up and going, and it was capable of doing 2,500 miles per hour, which was double the original. Not only did it have the characteristics of the original craft, but it also had a lesser weapon aboard it, which is capable of penetrating 4 inches of armor plating.
An interesting fact for you, Shane, is after the war, the American citizens thought they saw flying saucers over the skies, and as you stated, the so-called Nazi UFO project looked like a flying saucer.
Indeed, it did. And a next thing I'm going to show you here is in 1959, Jack Hudges, a freelance cameraman, was flying over this company's plant in Canada when he saw and photographed this picture, which is going to be on the screen right now, of a disc-shaped cross sitting on the ground. After the photograph was published in the papers, speculation grew that the disc was a secret weapon, and one that many have accounted for many of the UFO sightings during previous years. In response to speculation, the US Air Force released the following official photograph of the craft. It was called the Avro, and it had first been launched in 1955.
See, that's just if the Nazis did get these UFOs off the ground, the Allies would completely out.
Well, if the Nazis did have UFOs and, hovercraft sort of air vehicles, why were they never on the front lines?
Probably because they're more dreamed up. You can't feel that sort of stuff.
True. And I guess if they did sort of put this new vehicle on the front lines, it would be very easily to be stolen by the ideas of the Allies. And
Definitely.
the worst thing you want from your enemy is to have something similar to your best aircraft, but yet possibly even better.
True. Met the Americans and the Russians at the time were transferring some of the stuff.
Yep. Right. So, however, several projects was elaborated and later on built, whose characteristics were impressive. For example, in August of 1939, the RFC-5, in its first flight to the Antarctica in NEU Schwabenland, it reached the speed of 4.500 km over an hour, and not very later, 15.000 kilometers an hour. It was equipped with 2 weapons, black laser, also as the ray of death, as it's known, the KSK Krashdal-Kanonen of 6 cm. Years later, the Hanabu 2, with about 26 or 32 diameter meters, consonant the model, and among 9 and 11 of height. It reached the maximum speed close to the ground of 6.00 kilometers an hour, with the autonomy of 55 hours and with the capacity to transport 20 people. The Hanabu 3, with about 70 diameter meters, it flew 7 kilometers an hour close off the ground, could reach 40 kilometers an hour at 124 altitude meters, tens and autonomy for about 8 already. Vril 7, that he made its first flight of the Baltic Sea in the winter of 1944. He had about 120 diameter meters, as we will see more ahead. Several they were the projects found by the Allies in the SS files when they occupied Berlin in 1945. So the Allies actually did find out about some of the blueprints and the plans, what the Germans actually produced.
You know about what they said about 1944? At that point, the Russians were on a very big offensive. Indeed, they started. If they could build it, that kind of weaponry, they could have the whole type of war.
Okay, right. So now that we've seen the kind of gist of what the Nazis were making in this period with the relation to Die Glocke and UFOs, as such, to no relation to actual Element 115 yet itself, what could you really say that it has relation to zombies at the minute?
Well, White Glock is seen teleporters. We know that game. And there might be a few hidden references which no one's picked out.
Well, I agree with what you're saying there. So you're saying like it does have quite a lot of relation to Die Glocke itself, as it's a teleporter. It has the same sort of fundamental shape to what Die Glocke is portrayed as in the actual Nazi zombie game. It's a sort of a bell-shaped vehicle, although in the pictures that you see, yep, and in the pictures you can see a similar shape, although it is more disc-shaped itself, for its capability of flying that sort of altitude and speed. And so what I can grasp is that the Die Glocke itself is possibly based on the actual design of the Hanabu 3, maybe, and Vril 7.
Definitely.
And obviously Vril is a massive part of the zombie storyline, as you've got the Vril Society and all those other crazy inventions that the Vril Society made. So it could be possible that the Germans did have help from this ancient race or kind of society that is known as.
There was a documentary I watched a while about UFOs, and an American scientist questioned the Nazi scientist, and the Nazi scientist famously quoted from this interview, "We had help from them." He just said them.
He had helped them from them.
From them.
So
Just
them.
them.
So them possibly referring to either aliens as we know it, or the Vril Society. But is the Vril Society actually aliens? Do we know that for certain? But we will talk about that in a later episode. So guys, this has been the Z Files behind the screens with Jay Guster, aka Kilpatrick now. And here we go, guys. Thanks for watching.